Just really proud of the team for getting it done last night. It was a good win for our program. And obviously now we're moving into the next round against a elite program. And we knew coming into this, we get through one, we'd see a 1 seed, and here we are. Very impressed with everything South Carolina does, the way they do it. Coach Staley does a phenomenal job with them. I like the discipline they play with, and it's a huge test for us, and we're excited about it.
Questions for the student athletes? Michelle?
Sydney, they've already talked about how they want to maybe limit your touches or the time that you spend with the ball in your hand, and that they kind of view you as the head of the snake in terms of the offensive things. What do you feel like you have to do, knowing that they know? I mean, after 26 points, you're not a secret after the other night.
Well, obviously I have to work hard to get the ball, but I have a lot of faith in my teammates. They're very capable of making plays. I don't always have to have the ball in my hand, so a lot of people are going to step up tomorrow, and that's what we've been working hard on all season, so it's not just going to be up to me tomorrow. And that's what I love about this team. Everybody's capable of scoring and making big plays, and I expect that again tomorrow.
Jan?
What can you kind of share about them that you can kind of pick and choose maybe against their defense that you I don't want you to give away too many secrets, but what have you seen that you could kind of explain?
They're very aggressive, obviously, on ball pressure, and they're good in anticipating steals, and they're really big inside. So we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing all season, try and pick it apart, find the gaps and the open people, and like I said, everybody's capable of scoring, so it's going to be fun tomorrow.
Sydney, what was Coach's recruiting pitch to you, and why did you choose Oregon State, considering that they hadn't had the biggest run of success when you made that decision?
He had a vision that he wanted to make the NCAA tournament and go deep into it, and I believed in it, and I believed that he would recruit the right people that could get the job done, and here we are, and hopefully, we're setting the foundation for the next 3 years of my career, and he's done a really great job. The whole staff has done a great job just preparing us to get this far, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Gina?
Alyssa, you've obviously been here all 4 years, and what makes Scott's defensive philosophy so tough against other teams, and maybe how has that progressed throughout your career, just as you guys have gotten more players and more talent that's been able to carry you guys to this point?
I think defense has just always been our key and our backbone, and the coaches and all the coaching staff have gone into every single game just giving us a solid way to defend every single team, and we know the ins and outs of all their plays, and that's just, I think, how we get our offense going, is just being able to lock teams up on defense.
Alyssa, can you just talk about last night a little bit, what was going through your mind before the game, and then when you got that first three-pointer to get things rolling? Talk about that, would you?
Last night, it was all of our first times in the tournament, and we're playing for keeps now. You lose and you're out, and so you get that opportunity, and you just want to step up and hit the shots.
Gina?
For both of y'all, what is your favorite defensive play? Like, you get a stop. Is it a root block or steal? Like, what's your favorite?
I would have to say steals. We don't really get a lot of steals, so when it does happen, we like to capitalize on offense, get some fast break points out of it. But obviously, if we get a block too, that's pretty exciting. Anything on defense, just getting a stop in general is great.
Yeah, I think anytime we stop, just pushing the ball forward, that really just helps us get into our offense. Loose blocks are huge, and like Sid said, capitalizing on steals and just quick transition points.
Michelle?
Alyssa, Sydney doesn't play like a freshman, obviously. Does she have freshman moments?
Yeah, I think everybody has freshman moments, but I don't think any of our freshmen are playing like freshmen. Our whole team has just stepped up huge, and people say we're a young team, but I don't think it feels like one, and I think our freshmen are playing like juniors.
Here in the middle.
Early in the season, you played Notre Dame, Penn State, and Stanford, all elite programs, and you played well against them, and that was sort of before all the Pistons started firing. Just where's your confidence level at headed into this next game?
I think our confidence is high. Our coaching staff, like we've said in the past, they do a great job preparing us on how to attack defenses and how to stop people on when we play defense. And I think going into tomorrow, we're going to be excited, and we're looking to shock the nation, and we're going to have a lot of fun out there. So everybody has stepped up their game, and like I said earlier, I have confidence in each one of our players because we all work so hard, and we're all prepared to step up offensively or defensively. No matter what it takes to get the win, we're going to do it.
Any other questions for our student athletes? All right, thank you, ladies, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Questions for Coach? In the back.
Coach, could you talk a little bit about the depth of your roster? I mean, last night Ruth's in foul trouble, then Bree gets in foul trouble, and here comes Sam Signer that takes on Epping and Rowe. Can you relate to how, I mean, you go deep into your roster to get help?
Yeah, and then that's a sign of, good teams do that, and we're blessed with 1 through 11 can contribute, and our schedule has allowed us to be challenged. We've had games, especially early in the year, where we had to battle foul trouble. Certainly Jamie's injury forced some people into a different role than they were in, and threw them to the wolves a little bit and made them have to play big minutes. Gabby playing finishing minutes, Alyssa getting back in the mix, and then early in the year Devin would get in foul trouble quite a bit. Sam played some big roles, played some big minutes for us. You look back to the Penn State game and the Stanford game, 2 of which Mitch, you mentioned. Sam had huge games in both of those games. Those might have been her 2 best games of the year, and then you throw in last night's game. And so Sam has that confidence where she's ready to step in, and I think that is part of the culture that Alyssa creates, and Allie Gibson. When they're so inclusive of everyone. There's no groups on this team. It's one group, and everybody feels good, and everybody knows they're important and needed, and everybody knows that everybody else has their back and has confidence in them. And so it was great to see that last night. It didn't surprise me, but it was neat the way that played out. It helped us.
Gina?
Obviously, a lot's been said about the rebuild of your program, but South Carolina kind of in the same boat where, Dawn's come in and built them into a 1 seed. I know you can't speak to like the inner workings of what they've done, but just to kind of have 2 programs that have kind of rebuilt themselves in this type of game to go to the Sweet 16. I know.
How cool is that? Yeah, and we should also talk about Northridge being here. They did the exact same thing, 4 years ago. Jason was hired there, and I actually mentioned that to Dawn and to one of her assistants. We used to see each other in Salina, Kansas at the JC tournament, as we're trying to rebuild our program in a hurry to be competitive. And, that's not probably anyone's choice, to be there. It's like we would like to build it other ways and 4-year players and all those things, and so look where we are now. And so we do share that, and I've been nothing but impressed by what they've done, and it's an incredible story to be a 1 seed in 4 years, and so, a really impressive run by them.
It's kind of a follow-up. Just, do you look, again, Dawn's been there a couple more years and you've been here. Do you kind of envision that as something that's the next goal? You've gotten to the tournament, and now, hey, let's see if we can reach that status in a few
Certainly
years?
hope so. Yeah, certainly hope so. That just mean that this would continue, and we'd continue to take steps forward, and that's what I hope and envision.
Scott, why has your rebuild worked so quickly, and as much as you want it to work as fast as possible, considering what you inherited, is 4 years sooner than you expected to be at this point?
I don't think you can predict this. I don't think there's any way that you could have predicted that we'd be here right now. I wouldn't have. I thought best case scenario, I said this last week, would be year 5 or 6. I thought that was best case, just because, I figured we'd have to win somehow for a little while before we could get a Sydney Wiese, Jamie Wisner, or any of them, and so the fact that we were able to, as a staff, attract that type of talent that quickly, I couldn't have predicted that, and then for that talent to achieve the way they are, I think the key to that is character, and that's what I've learned in my career. Character wins. I've had some teams that I've said, we might not be the most talented team in our conference, but we've won the conference, or we've achieved at a higher level, and you look back as to why. Well, they're high character people. They're achievers on and off the court. That's just who they are, and that's who this team is made of. 1 through 11, these are achievers in the classroom, on the court, as people, and they take care of each other. So we were able to build that same culture, that I know achieves and wins. And so, And to be honest, that's what makes this whole thing worth it. Every day is just fun for us as coaches as well, knowing you've got a team that takes care of each other and wants to be great. I say that all the time, I guess, but that's been the key.
Jada?
Scott, Don had mentioned being very complimentary of Sydney and telling you so. Do you share the kind of same feeling, or do you know much, I guess, about Khadijah beyond what you saw yesterday?
I don't know a whole lot of their individual stories, to be honest. It's been a blur. What I do know is they're very good, and so I don't know if you can say enough compliments about this team, but I can't say I know personal stories very well other than they're extremely talented.
To kind of go off the defensive question I asked Alyssa, kind of a two-part question for you. Number one, where did you first decide that defense was going to be your calling card? Maybe who were your first influences? And then what's it like to get your kids to buy into that? Because it's such an effort thing. It's such a, it's not always the most exciting thing is to play tough defense.
That's a great question. I think it's just individual. I think it goes back to my foundation as a basketball player. Believe it or not, I played, and then as a coach, if you watch SportsCenter, some people will just see offense. Somebody wants to see this person dunk or this person make this amazing offensive play, and I see, well, why'd that person not stop that? I see the defensive side of that play, and that would have been easy to stop. Why do you let them do this or that? So when I watch a game, my mind sees defense, just the way I am. And part of it might be that I'm a 5'4" male trying to play, a game that's not built for 5'4" male players. And so I had to survive. I had to be a perfect position defender. I had to, I had to be perfect. To be on the floor, I had to be perfect because I wasn't going to get anything easy for my team. That's just the way it is. And so that trained me, and I'm a coach's son too, so I've been around the game. I've been on a bench since I was 2 years old. So, it just trained me to learn the game from that perspective, I guess. Now the second part to that is my favorite part, because I think a team that sells out for each other and plays defense is a team that has great camaraderie. There are no superstars. Everybody has an equal role. You can't hide a defender. Not at this level, you can't hide a defender. Everybody has an equal role. So when your best offensive player is selling out on the defensive end and boxing out and diving on the floor, you've got a great team spirit. And so I've learned that over my career. So then the other part is just sticking with it and teaching them how much they can control a game. People say, well, this team, Oregon State got lucky because this team missed open shots. Well, no, those were the shots that we wanted them to take. We made them go to a weakness for 40 straight minutes. They were uncomfortable the whole time. Even though that shot might look open, it's not what they do. So getting a team to find joy in that, in jacking up another team's system, that's fun for a coach to watch. That only happens through film study, through commitment, through from the whole team buying into that. And so this team hit that if somewhere in January where they truly bought into the scouting report, and it's been obviously a joy to watch.
Jada?
What did you say to Ruth, with the foul trouble and everything like that? Obviously, she's going to be very key with their size tomorrow. So what did you have to talk to her about as far as not letting that happen again?
Well, I don't know. I thought, I don't know if she could have changed anything on a couple of them, to be honest. I thought she played pretty good position defense last night. They did a great job going at her. You're facing a smaller, quicker player. That's hard to guard if you're bigger. And now she's going to be facing more of her size, which in some ways is easier for a taller player. So my words to Ruth were, keep your head up, keep doing what you're doing. I thought last night was a little bit unfortunate for her, but that's the way basketball goes sometimes, so it's nice to have depth.
Howie?
Scott, I'm vertically challenged like you. I'm just curious, did you ever play, I know basketball is in the family, did you ever play for your dad? Or?
I did. Yeah, my dad was my JV coach, so I got to play for him for a year, yeah. Yeah, I won't tell you what year either. Yeah, my dad he's a phenomenal coach. He was a lifelong JV coach, And so that was just his role. He had his own team, but didn't have the summers. He did his other stuff in the summers. And so, allowed me unlimited access to everything. And this is the reason I'm here.
For lots of reasons.
Can you just talk about what you've seen from South Carolina's pair of 6'4" posts and just what they do like to do down low, how you're going to stop them?
Yeah, well, we've got to just keep doing the same thing we've been doing all year. You know, you can't let them post up under the net. They transition so well. We've got to beat them down the floor, of course. We've got to keep them away from the basket as best we can. We've got to wall up and make them shoot tough shots over us. You know, and we got to limit second opportunities. You know, they do such a great job on the boards. You know, the 22 points a game coming from the 5 position, you know, for this team. And sometimes they are out there together, but, that's a lot of points. It's very similar to what one player for Middle Tennessee did, you know, and 22 points a game is identical. And so we've got to slow them down. Again, just like most great players, you're not going to stop them. Impossible to stop them. You know, they're going to get their points, but you got to slow them down, and you can't give them 22 and you can't give them 30, you know. And so it's position, defense. Before they get to spots, we've got to be there.
Offensively, I don't think I've seen you guys be too quick or get into too much of a running game this season. Do you think you can hang that way with South Carolina? Because they seem very fast sometimes.
They love transition. They're very good in transition, but so is Notre Dame. So is several teams we've played this year love to go. Oregon likes to run. You know, and so that's one of the things that I think we do a pretty good job of is defensive transition. That's going to be a absolute key to this game. You know, part of it is you can't hand them the ball. You know, you've got to take care of the basketball. We have to have great possessions. Offensively, we have to get shots up, and then we got to make shots. That's the biggest thing, you know, so they're taking it out of bounds instead of off the rim or off a steal, you know, and so us offensively, we're opportunistic. You know, if it's there, we'll take it. You saw that a couple times last night in the second half. But like Sid said, we don't get a lot of steals. That's by design. You know, we don't gamble a whole lot. So we've got to make it a 5-on-5 game, no question.